Roar!
Ew. Dash's Unsuccessful Fanfic by Penguifyer.
Twilight, you gotta read it!
Twilight levitated a stack of papers to the side, staring at Rainbow Dash with drooping eyes. Dash went on.
I'm telling you, I put my heart into this one. I know it's good.
Dropping the papers onto an ever-growing to-do stack, she sighed and melted into her chair.
I'll do it. Just give me a day or two. Come on, Twilight, this is urgent!
Fine, I'll do it by tomorrow, she conceded. What even is it?
It's a daring do fanfic. Just trust me, okay?
A daring do fanfic. She shouldn't be surprised. Just give it to me. Rainbow Dash flew over her desk and tackled her into a hug.
Thank you! It's enough, Rainbow!
She grunted, trying to break the hold. Dash hopped off and hovered over the desk, embarrassed.
Sorry, Twi.
She pulled out a stack of paper from a saddlebag and plopped them on Twilight's desk.
I'll be back tomorrow, goodbye!
She rambled before darting out of the castle window. Twilight brushed herself before resetting her chair and peeking at the stack of paper Dash just gave her, its title being Daring's Greatest Epic Journey of All Time. She flipped through the first few pages, skimming the text. The worst it could do is give her a break from her royal duties. How bad could it be?
So, how was it?
Dash asked, jittering with nerves. Twilight sipped a cup of coffee as she rubbed her eyes, noticing the clock read 9 a.m.
When are you up this early? I couldn't sleep last night. I just really need to know if you like it.
She bit her hoofs, hovering over the desk. Hoof clippings piled on Twilight's desk.
It's, how to put this?
Dash froze, knowing what was coming. Twilight chose her next words carefully.
It's something.
Dash backed away, bringing her hoofs to her face.
I knew it! I knew you wouldn't like it!
That's not what I mean.
Of course it's what you mean. What else is it supposed to mean?
Let me explain myself.
Why should I? I knew I couldn't trust... Rainbow!
Twilight yelled, enveloping Dash in the aurora of a levitation spell and setting her down in a chair.
It's not that bad. It just doesn't feel finished. How?
Well, first of all, you literally put yourself in the story. Dash paused before asking,
Is that bad?
Most of the time, yes. It's something you can only do with considerable care and introspection. Dash kicked back, crossing her hoofs behind her head.
Come on, I know myself very well.
Twilight glared. Yeah, well, look here also. Twilight flipped the page and pointed at a line of text. Daring do jealoused over Dash every day, wanting to become like her and follow her till the very last day. Dash sat motionlessly, embarrassed from her own words. First, jealous isn't a word. Second, why is daring do in this story?
Come on, we all know she's got an ego. I thought it'd be cool to humble her for once.
Twilight stared at her.
With yourself?
Dash scratched her head.
About that.
I don't want to sound harsh, but it's kinda hard to read.
I mean, the main villain is T-Rex. What? I was confident in that part.
Twilight paused.
We defeated T-Rex in real life. That's why I...
Dash put the pieces together.
Oh.
She sighed. I shouldn't get too mad. Funny enough, your story reminds me of my first fanfics. Dash jumped out of her chair.
You wrote daring do fanfics?
Twilight nodded with a small smile.
Uh-huh. And I'm not proud of many of them.
Dash hovered back into the chair, perplexed by Twilight's statement.
What do you mean? I should clarify. I don't regret writing any of them, but some of them are really bad. Over time, I learned to use those fics as stepping stones to help me improve.
Dash sat silently, processing what she just heard. Twilight continued.
Thing is, I had to fail in order to learn what I needed to learn. It's one of those you don't know what you don't know sort of things.
Dash looked down.
Then what do I do? I really want to make it good. Well, I could show you some of the resources I used to help me write back in the day. I'm still open to proofreading too.
Dash lunged at Twilight, tackling and hugging her again.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you!
Twilight unlodged herself from Dash's grip.
Anytime, just try not to hurt me.
Dash hopped back into the air.
Sorry about that.
Then she darted out the window again. Twilight brushed herself off again before resetting her chair and levitating the hoof clippings into the trash. She was used to this with Dash. Twilight didn't see the story for 3 months. She barely even thought about it in that time. Dash, on the other hand, made her story her life. She checked out multiple books from the library on fiction writing and story structure. She read reviews and analyses of her favorite Daring Do books, breaking down the plot structure. She chatted with other fanfic writers, discussing common tropes and writing pitfalls. Within a month, she acquired the critical eye of an author. The next month was spent revising and redoing the whole story. What was once a self-insert character became Little Cloud, a representation of her insecurities, which she juxtaposed with Daring's adventurous spirit. The dumb and generic villain of Tirek became cunning and intelligent, justifying his actions with a bent morality. Most importantly, she crafted an arc where Little Cloud learned to take risks and believe in herself, aided by the help of Daring Do. The final month was spent drafting and redrafting, producing a polished product. Her grammar became impeccable, with every comma placed intently and skillfully. Her language evolved into a witty yet brash style with a punchy voice. All plot holes were stomped out, creating a solid narrative. To top it off, the themes were refined and permeated the whole story, pulling it all together. When Twilight reread Dash's story, she didn't recognize it. It wasn't stellar by any means, but she had to admit it was solid.
You like it?
Dash asked, giddy with nerves.
I do, actually. The structure is purposeful, the language is clear.
Excitement brewed within Twilight as a grin grew on her face.
Look at how much you've grown as a writer. Really?
Twilight nodded.
Uh-huh. And I know just where to send it to.
Rainbow Dash laid awake in bed, awaiting the mail pony. Twilight submitted her story to the Daring Do fan magazine the day prior, assuring her they'd know if her story was accepted the next day. Hearing the subtle twang of the mailbox outside, she dashed through her house, out the door, and to the mailbox, pulling out the magazine as the mail pony drifted away. She flipped through the pages, finding her story before spinning around in excitement and darting towards the castle. Twilight poured herself a second cup of coffee as Dash burst through the window and froze in front of her.
Twilight, look!
Twilight placed her coffee on the table and levitated the magazine out of Dash's hooves. Flipping through the pages, she found Dash's story and smiled back.
I told you they'd accept it. It's not like you violated any rules. I haven't done this before, okay?
Twilight smirked.
Regardless, just letting you know this magazine is enchanted to track every pony who reads your fanfic, turning it into a number you can see on the last page. It's what the publisher uses to decide featured stories. I also think it's a great tool for trying new ideas and seeing what sticks. Like, I'll know every pony who reads it? Only how many? cool! You know, I think this one might be a hit. Twilight held up her hoof. Don't speak too soon. You never know what'll happen when you put yourself out there. A day went by and the counter hopped up to 40. Dash jumped at the thought that 40 ponies read her story and liked it. Another day and it jumped up to 58. Then 64. The next day and the initial enthusiasm wore off. By the end of the week, it leveled 71 with no signs of climbing again. Dash didn't know what to think until she read the story on the front cover and saw its view count. Twilight sipped her coffee, relaxing instead of doing paperwork for once. She only needed 1 cup of coffee on days like this. Kicking back, she settled down with a daring do book, good for fun reading which she desperately needed. Dash burst through the window, plopping the magazine on Twilight's desk. Explain this! Explain what? This! Dash pointed to the view count of the front cover story, which read 1900. Twilight read the title of the story. Daring Falling for T-Rex. And of course, it was tagged as a romance. What about it? Twilight asked. How is this more popular than my story? Have you read it? I don't think you understand. I spent months on my story, but this 2,000-word piece of filth somehow got more views. Bring it down, Rainbow. How am I supposed to calm down? I wasted 3 months of my... Dash! Twilight shouted with a royal voice. Dash jumped before hovering down to the ground in silence. Have you read the story? Dash looked away. No. Then don't judge it. Ponies put as much effort into their romance fics as you do into your action-adventure epic. I know, but why that story? I don't know what daring do fans like. On the description it literally says it took the author 3 days. You can do that with a lot of practice, you know. Yeah, but it doesn't have the blood, sweat and tears I put into mine. Don't ponies appreciate that? Twilight let out a deep breath and face-huffed, unsure of what to do with Dash. Few ponies ever came out with hit stories, even if they were good writers. Something else came to mind. I once heard of a composer who didn't make a living off his music till he was 41. Dash raised an eyebrow. Huh? Moreover, he wrote some of the most influential music ever in that time, doing whatever other work he could to pay the bills. They say he even lost money on his groundbreaking opera, even though it sold out in 2 nights in a row, forcing him to make up the money as a taxi driver. Really? Yes, really. When asked, he just said he was having fun. I always think back to him whenever I write fanfic or express my creativity in general. To him, success didn't come with ambition, but rather an enjoyment of the music. It doesn't matter if my stories do well. If I enjoy making them, some pony is bound to enjoy reading them. A tear fell down Dash's eye. She sniffled. Thanks, Twi. It's what friends are for. Dash wiped the tear from her face. I just felt useless after seeing the views. Like, nothing I could do would ever make my story better. Twilight slid out from behind her desk and patted Dash on the back. It's okay. It's a toil of being an artist. A few moments of sniffling and reassurance passed. So, what do we do? Twilight smirked. Next, we work on a sequel. Hello and once again welcome to Comment Time with Visual Pony. And I will remind you that you can support Pony&Wolf Productions through the links down in the description. Every dollar helps, is needed and very much appreciated. So please consider supporting us. And now let's get into this comment time. So what do I think about this story? Well, to be honest, I like it. I really like it because as a voice artist and voice actor or whatever you want to call it, I know the troubles of stuff like this. Specifically, I even remember someone recently commenting under one of our videos saying, "Hey, why no dedicated voice actors?"
why only one person doing all the voices? And I'm like, because that's what I do, dramatic readings, you know? I think sometimes people just don't realize what kind of work goes into a fully voiced project. Like, if you have, I wouldn't be able to release as much as I do with my day job if I were doing, if I were reading stories and have voice actors for every single character.
That is the reason why I try to have at least decent range of voices to do, you know?
So that I can give everyone at least a slightly distinctive voice or way of speaking.
And I think I'm at least succeeding a little bit, aren't I? You know? And if I were to work with voice actors, it would be a lot more work. Even for just a short story like this, it would take weeks to get everything in and edited, and you know. So what can I say? I can totally relate to this. Sincerely, Visual Pony.